Are you getting a band 5.5 over and over again in IELTS speaking exam? Don't worry, because this video is going to help you out to get out of this problem. Because in this video, I'm going to give you three important tips that you can use in IELTS exam and you can handle this problem in a wonderful way. So let's begin with the first important point. What my first important point is, you should rephrase the question. What I mean by that, whenever examiners ask you some questions in the speaking section 1 or speaking section 3, majority of students, they steal some words from the questions and they try to answer it, which is, in general term, I would say it's not the better way to get higher score under the marking criteria of vocabulary. So what do you have to do? You should always try to rephrase the questions so that you can get higher score in your speaking exam. For example, if examiner asks you, who is your favorite celebrity? Instead of saying, my favorite celebrity is maybe any name, maybe Salman Khan, maybe Akshay Kumar, maybe any cricketer, you should say, I am big fan of Akshay Kumar. I am big fan of Salman Khan. Or you can use some other ways to rephrase the question so that you can get higher score under the marking criteria of vocabulary. Let's move on to the tip number 2. Tip number 2 is you should use expressions in your speaking exam. I have noticed many students, they don't use expressions. Simply, they sit in the IELTS exam in front of examiners and they behave like a third or fourth class student. So your speaking level should be higher and you should always use some expressions in order to get higher score. For example, if examiner asks you, can you do two tasks simultaneously? Or he can ask you, can you do two things simultaneously? Or he can ask you, can you concentrate on two things at the same time? Majority of students will answer like this. They will say, I'm sorry, I cannot concentrate on two things simultaneously. Instead of saying these particular sentences, you can use some expressions. For example, to be honest, I can't do this. To be very frank, it's very difficult task for me to concentrate on two things at the same time. So hope you got this point and you will use some expressions so that you can get higher score in your speaking exam. Let's move on to our final tip, and it is you should keep a steady pace in your real exam. What generally happens when students sits in the IELTS exam, they make mistake. I mean, they when they practice their IELTS speaking in the coaching centers, they have list of questions. They have list of speaking part 1, they have list of speaking part 2 as well as speaking part 3. But when they sit in exam, they, because they have practiced a lot about the part 1 and part 2 questions, they are unable to they are unable to maintain the speed of their exam in the last part 3 of the IELTS speaking section, because they have memorized some answers and their speed level is little bit higher in speaking part 1 and in speaking part 2. But when it comes to speaking part 3, they are unable to maintain the pace or speed of their fluency in the speaking section 3, and they fail to maintain the steady pace, which is a blunder, and examiners are well trained. They can understand the kind of mistakes you are making, the kind of memorization you have made in the part 1 and part 2 questions. And because you have failed to maintain that speed in the speaking part 3, you are going to be penalized. So please maintain equal amount of pace or speed in 3 parts of the speaking section, so that examiners can can offer you some better scores. So I hope you have enjoyed my speaking tips, and please subscribe my channel and hit the notification button so that you can get some more videos, more useful videos on further topics. Thank you so much, and I wish you a wonderful evening. Thank you so much.